Hi, welcome back or to the show if you're new here. My name is Shelby and I'm the host of My Perspective. I'm so excited you're here. I've missed talking to you. We are finally recording an episode about 75 Soft Challenge Wellness Edition. Or maybe it's going to be Soft Girl Lifestyle this fall or something like that. All right, we have so many updates for you all. Let's start off with our segments. So first update is I went to Japan. It feels like it went so long ago and somehow the trips go by so fast, but then at the same time I get there and I don't believe that I'm there. I have so many takeaways. Go look on TikTok because I did a day by day and I'm still posting them about everything I did in Japan, what I ate, what I wore, what I learned. So highly recommend go to my TikTok. It's just Shell Bright. But if you didn't know already, I'm a quarter Japanese, and ever since middle school, I have always wanted to go to Japan. It's been on a bucket list for me, and I finally decided to make it my grad trip for myself. So when I graduated college, that was a goal of mine, was to go to Japan. I try to go to one trip per year, and this was obviously a way larger trip than I've ever done because I don't speak the language, and it is a 12-ish hour flight. So my sister was actually there for work. She was hosting an entrepreneurship. She wasn't hosting it. She was invited by some of her investors to go speak at this women entrepreneurship workshop and stuff. So she was there for work and then I tagged along because I've always wanted to go. But some things that I realized was the people there are so kind. They really go out of your way. They will miss work. They'll be late to something. They will walk you in the direct place that you need to go. They will try to speak so much English to you, which is really hard because if you think about it, when tourists come, you kind of want them to speak your language, not the other way around. And they really try to just make you feel welcomed and hope you have a great trip. Some other things was I never realized that their restaurants are so small, but the food and the quality of it is so good. And actually everything is extremely affordable. One thing I realized was if you want water, it's 70 cents. Probably $1, but the yen was not as strong as the American dollar. If you go on a train, if you go to a vending machine, water is always the same price. That's crazy because when you're in America, water will be free at a water fountain. Then you'll go to an airplane and it's $5. And you go to a baseball game and it's $8. And then you go somewhere else and it's 10. So water always has so many different values, but there was always the same price. And another cool thing that a lot of people talk about is the vending machines and the 7-Elevens and the convenience stores have actually really good food. Japan, a lot of the stores don't open until noon, and I always eat breakfast. I always eat pretty early. So I would just go to a 7-Eleven and get a Spam musubi or get a bento box, eat something because it needed to hold me over till lunchtime. So that was something really interesting. I also noticed that they are very family-centric. You see kids, you see older people everywhere around the town, and I think it's mainly because it's not surrounded by cars. So older people and younger kids can get around with the trains and the buses, and they can walk everywhere, which I love as well because in America, we kind of just send a lot of our elder people to senior homes. To me, I feel like people kind of forget about the senior community, but at least in Japan, you take care of your family and they're always there. You don't just send them away. And I understand you can't always take care of your family and that's why we have to send them away. But that's just not as common in Japan, I'm pretty sure. So it's really cool to see people of all ages out and about. Another thing is I felt so safe there. When I went to France, I would not go out past sundown, but in Japan, I was out and about all night. Not all night. I like to be probably in the hotel by 9, but the sun set pretty early and I was still able to go about the town and I never felt unsafe once. Men don't even look at you when you're walking down the street, which is insane because if you're in LA and New York, you will get catcalled in broad daylight. I would be in a pitch black alley. Never felt unsafe. I spent the last 3 days alone because my sister went home. Trip was 10 out of 10. I would definitely go back. If I went back, I'd probably want to spend more time in the countryside. We went to Tokyo and then we went to Nara and Kyoto, but I definitely would want to go to the countryside because I would want to see the rice farms and just a slower pace of life. The city was very much a city. And I guess when I think of Japan, I don't think of Tokyo, a super busy city. So it was a little bit of a shock to me, even though I knew. Like, it was just hard to conceptualize because I just thought it would be a lot different because it was a foreign country, but a city is a city. The second segment, if you're new here, is something I've been obsessed with, and then like a low of the week, something not great. I like to share a low or something I've not been loving to not bring people down, but to humanize myself and show that I go through the same similar things and my life's not perfect no matter what I put out on social media. So I think it's important to not only show the good, but to show some other things. Something I've been obsessed with this week, something I've been pretty obsessed with recently is my dry brush. So I've always had a dry brush for a little over a year now, but when I was in Japan, I was doing this every single day. And when I was home, I wasn't even doing it. If you don't know already, going on a trip, it's actually a lot easier to start habits because your body is not in its usual environment and you're not used to the habits. You're kind of thrown off your routine. So if you start a habit on a vacation, it's actually more likely for you to stick with it. But towards the end of my trip, I realized I didn't have it anymore. And there was 2 instances, crazy stories, where I almost lost my bag and lost my phone, and I was like, oh my goodness, I must have left my dry brush in one of the hotel rooms. I forgot that I put some stuff in my sister's luggage when she went back. She sent me a photo. She's like, oh, come pick up this stuff, and my dry brush was in there, which is actually so exciting because I did not want to buy another one. It was only probably $20. My next low will kind of tell you what's going on. My low kind of goes hand in hand with a high at the same time. So my low is my internship's ending on Friday, which is a huge bummer. I'm kind of excited to be unemployed for a little bit because I'll get to really reset my apartment, get on my workout routine, and hang out with Max and focus on my social media and podcast. I think that's the hugest thing. Is I had the worst job interview today. It turned out to be a total pyramid/scam. I was actually so furious when I came out of that interview because I was there for 2 hours and my work was like, hey, where are you? Because I was going during my lunch break, but it went way longer than it was supposed to. And then they kind of made me feel bad for needing to leave. I'm like, no interview should be this long. So it was really a bummer. But then I was talking to Max and he was like, you shouldn't just take a job because it's a job. You should take a job because you want it. And the highlight is I can file for unemployment because I'm not working. So I think I'm going to just put all my time and energy into the podcast, into my social media, and use this time to, one, obviously apply for jobs, but also to pursue what I'm passionate about and what I do want my career to end up being, which is this podcast. Little plug for the pod is please follow the show and rate it and send it to friends, post it on social media. That is the best way for my show to get out there. You can follow the TikTok. It's just my name, Shelby Wright. And then Instagram is My Perspective Pod. So get ready for a ton of content coming out soon. Some goals I have for the podcast coming up is next year, so that's in a couple of months, I'm going to start doing interviews. I'm thinking of doing like 1 interview a month maybe. Just start it off slow. It's always been the goal of mine to make this an interview-based podcast, I'm pretty sure, because The Skinny Confidential is my favorite podcast of all time and they're mainly interview-based. If I'm producing something for you all, I want it to be the best quality there is. And so I think that's what's really holding me back. And in my Japan trip, I really was able to kind of think about how I was going to go about this. So as soon as I get my big girl job or I wait for Christmas to come around, because I'm going to ask these things for Christmas, I'm going to ask for a ton of new equipment so that I can produce the best podcast, audio, and interviews that I can, because if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it 110%. I also want my guests to have a good experience as well. And what's also nice is this podcast is mainly just me. Like, I haven't had a guest on, so I'm really trying to build my relationship with the people that listen to my podcast before I bring in other people, because this podcast is about me. It's about my perspectives on everything. Let's just get into this episode because it should be a pretty quick episode actually, but I'm really excited for this. I keep seeing this trend all over TikTok of like the soft girl lifestyle. I feel I really embody the soft girl lifestyle. I'm not the clean girl. So let's like throw the clean girl aesthetic out, because even though I want to be the clean girl aesthetic, I'm just not. But I very much am the soft girl aesthetic. To explain this episode a little bit. I'm going to go into ways you can embody the soft girl lifestyle this fall and winter. And then I'm also going to talk about a 75 hard challenge that I'm doing at the end of this episode and that maybe you want to join me on. I'm doing the 75 soft girl challenge, but wellness edition. To me, fall really screams soft girl lifestyle, especially coming from summer, which is like known as like hot girl summer, and you're going to parties and you're hooking up with a lot of guys and you're drinking alcohol. Like obviously that's not my summer, but I know a lot of people like that lifestyle when it comes to summer. And now fall is like cuffing season and we got holidays and family. To me, when I think of fall, I think of winter. I really think of being more wholesome, getting closer with your friends, staying in, watching movies. I just think of like a cozier Scandinavian vibe. Something I wrote down was like, fall and winter, you're a born-again virgin. Let's throw out everything you did in the hot girl summer that you had maybe. Clean slate. You are a born-again virgin. It never happened. You never had a hot girl summer. Now it's time for you to just become your inner self again. And maybe you don't have a boyfriend. Totally fine. But you can do this with some of your girlfriends and your dog. And I really like the soft girl lifestyle because I think it's me. I am basically a grandma and I'm 21 years old. I actually went to a networking female founder event yesterday and we went up to like a random table to network and they were talking about how they love to party into their 30s and 40s and 50s, and one of the guys was talking about it. He's older. I think he was in his 40s or 50s. And he's like, I still party. And all of them were talking about partying. They knew I went to Cal Poly SLO. So like, oh my God, Cal Poly's so crazy on St. Patrick's Day. Like, tell me about it. And little do they know, I've never been to one of the St. Fratties. St. Fratties at Cal Poly is basically everybody wakes up at like 3 a.m. You chug alcohol, you get ready, and you run around the town of SLO plastered. And there's a ton of parties. All the frats have parties. And I heard it's really fun. But here's the thing. I don't think my body could fathom waking up that early and then indulging in alcohol. I think I would vomit immediately. So I've never partaken, and also it falls along with Max and I's anniversary. I might actually go up to SLO and visit my friends this year because it'll be like, it's technically supposed to be my senior year and I might go, but little do they know those people. I never been, even though I talked about it to them. And so they probably think I was a huge partier in college when I probably went out less than a handful of times this past year. I did go out a bit in my freshman year and like barely in my sophomore year. So I barely partied all of college. I don't really know. It's just not my thing. I get in like moods. Like I want to go party and then sometimes I'm like, I'm not. So I think the grandma aesthetic is me. I want to be curled into bed at 9 p.m. with my Kindle, and I want to be drinking my tea. And I have a long-term boyfriend, so I am not having any type of hot girl summers. So I feel like the soft girl lifestyle is really... Sorry, there's an ambulance. The soft girl lifestyle, I feel like, is really just being within, being wholesome and cozy, not being chaotic, not going out till 4 a.m. If you follow Alex Earl, she is not the soft girl lifestyle. So I would say like the opposite of what Alex Earl is. You know, like I think you guys understand what soft girl means. But let's first go into ways that I'm gonna embody this, or ways that I do embody this that I recommend. Just ways to like calm down your life, take it a step slower. Okay, number 1 is not setting an alarm. And I'm personally going to be able to do this because I'll be unemployed. But if you're not unemployed or you're in school or something, this is for the weekends, okay? I was a little bit embarrassed about becoming unemployed and wasn't going to tell you guys, but I was like, you know what? A lot of people become unemployed and I'm going to use it to the best of my abilities. I'm going to set no alarm in the morning because I think your body actually wakes up when it needs to. Since coming back from Japan, I felt extremely sleep deprived. I have not been my 5 a.m. workout girly. I have been waking up right before I have to go to work. And another part of that is Max has been sleeping over a lot and I feel bad waking up early and him having to also basically wake up because I wake him up. So I've been sleeping in a little bit, but I'm so excited to not have to go to work and I can just sleep in every single day. And I think after maybe like a week of me sleeping in, I'll go back to having an alarm for like workouts or just naturally start having an alarm because I don't want to waste my day. Or how I'm going to wake up without an alarm, because that seems pretty self-explanatory, is hopefully you'll wake up with the sun, and that regulates your circadian rhythm. And I've talked about circadian rhythm before. It helps ensure your production and release of your hormones at the right times. So for females, our hormones like estrogen and progesterone follow a natural rhythm, which impacts our period, our menstrual cycle, and even fertility. And when you're disrupting your circadian rhythm, it actually can lead to hormone imbalances. So like some ways you can combat that is to wake up with the sun, go to bed with the sun, take morning, evening, night walks. Obviously, it's not realistic for everybody. I got a Hatch alarm clock, I think when I moved to SLO this year. What I love about the Hatch alarm clock is it's not an alarm on your phone that literally gives you a headache, gives you anxiety from waking up. It's waking you up gradually with like birds or chimes. I went on a vacation this year and my roommates were like, Shelby, there's always birds. We can hear them from your room, because my window is right by a tree, and I was like, guys, I must have just forgot to turn off my alarm clock all week. You can't hear the birds that bad. And they're like, oh my God, I thought they were legit birds. It wakes you up also with a sunrise. I usually make mine start half an hour before I actually want to wake up. So I think what I'll do when I'm unemployed is I'll have the alarm clock only the light portion. I won't have the sound. But honestly, my apartment is filled with windows, and some parts of it I can't put a curtain there. It's just too high. Naturally, a lot of sun comes into my apartment, and in the morning it's extremely bright and I just can't do anything about it. So I think I'll naturally wake up anyways. Going along with waking up at a certain time, I also highly recommend going to bed early. Soft girl lifestyle is not going out to the club till 4 a.m. It is being in bed with your Kindle at 8, 9, 10 p.m. Okay. I already do this. Max always complains. He's like, we go to bed so early, but we always fall asleep right away. Pretty much when the sun goes down, the nighttime routine starts. So let me tell you a little bit about my nighttime routine, because it is perfection. We're going to do it pretty quick. As soon as the sun goes down, I turn on all my lamps, and most of them are red lamps. So I have a mushroom lamp. It's not red. And then I have a red lamp by my couch, and I have the Hatch one by my bedroom or by my bed. And then I have a salt lamp in my bathroom. So the reason why I do not overhead lights is because overhead lights actually trick your body into not producing melatonin, because it thinks it's the sun. So it's going to think you're still awake. So when I turn on the other lights, it tells my body it's time to go to bed. The sun went down. That means Shelby needs to go to bed. I'm gonna lie, but I have been watching TV at 8 p.m. instead of reading my Kindle, and I've been loving a late night snack. My favorite dessert is cookies and ice cream. Warm cookies and ice cream is my go-to favorite thing. So recently I've been making cookies and ice cream. I put it in a little tiny tart dish, the cookie, bake it in that, and then I put ice cream on top, and that just helps me portion control, because I'd probably make a ton of cookies and eat a ton of ice cream. So this helps me just eat like one a day. So recently I've been watching Suits and Lessons in Chemistry. It's been my fix of the week. I usually update you guys on what book I'm currently reading. I finished Lessons in Chemistry. I finished The Secret Society of Witches or something. I'm in a book club for it. But sometimes I'll read my Kindle, and I like my Kindle because there's not a lot of blue light with it. Obviously, you can read from a regular book, but I hate the feeling of paper. I hate it. And I read so much faster on my Kindle. Another thing I do for my nighttime routine, like obviously my skincare and all that, I take magnesium. That really helps your body wind down. Oh, and then I also drink tea, and that's just like a warm beverage at night. A lot of people drink tart cherry juice, and I've tried it once, but it's very, very sweet for me, so I need to dilute it with something. But quality sleep is so important. It's just important for your mood, for your hormones, for your happiness. You have to just sleep as much as you can. What's actually interesting, something I heard recently, was because we think time is so short and we don't have a lot of time in the world, or we don't have a lot of time in the day, we actually self-sabotage ourselves by staying up late because we're trying to gain that time back. But really, we really need that sleep to be healthy and feel good, and your actually just self-sabotaging by making yourself feel worse by staying up late. And usually the stuff you're doing late is unproductive and unnecessary. It's not like you are building your company at 2 a.m. Maybe you are, but most people are scrolling on TikTok, binging TV shows, and you're actually not doing anything. I learned this pretty quickly on in college, but one of the reasons why I don't drink and I try not to go to bed late is because I can't control my thoughts sometimes, and the later it gets, the darker my thoughts get. To be honest, I struggle a lot with depression, and sometimes my thoughts go into really scary places. The best way I've been able to combat that is to not go to bed late, because when I go to bed late or when I'm drinking too much alcohol and it's late, I kind of freak myself out, or my TikTok algorithm gets really scary. It's just not good for myself. I know that boundary for myself. I think that was something I realized really early on, that I cannot do that. Maybe that's also just an excuse for myself to stop drinking and going to bed late, but honestly, I think that's a good reason, a very good reason. Third way you're going to embody this soft girl summer or this soft girl fall and winter is you're going to go outside more. And I know it's kind of cold for some people, but I live in Southern California, so it's not that cold. But even if you live in the snow, go outside and touch the snow. Ground yourself. I highly recommend going on walks. We talk about this all the time. The walks are really good for your circadian rhythm. I feel like going on walks is very nature, very wholesome. I feel like the key word to this whole podcast is how to be more wholesome. Kind of like think back to what you did as a kid. In a way. Like, what did we do as kids? We went outside and we played in the dirt. So personally, I'm gonna go on a ton of walks since I'm unemployed now and I have a dog, so he obviously wants to go out and about. 2 is I'm gonna go to the beach. So my sister gave me her long leash from like her cat. I think it's like 30 feet long. And Max and I took Miso to the beach this past week, and he loved it. He actually is terrified of the water because he went in once and I think he hated it. The long leash, I realize he's really good and he doesn't try to run away and he just sits there and kind of tries to chase the birds and then he gets yanked back. I'm going to take him to the beach because I live 2 miles from the beach and I don't go enough. Every time I'm at the beach, I want to take a nap. I feel very relaxed and safe, and it's really good for you to put your feet into the sand. It's a grounding habit to connect with like nature, and I think the sounds of the waves are very nurturing. But maybe you don't live by the beach. Maybe you go to the snow and you go sledding, or you walk through the forest, but you just take it slow. Nothing too crazy, just getting outside. And what I think I love about walks so much is that being outside is so good for you, and you can listen to a podcast, you can listen to a book, you can call a friend, but also it's free. There are so many products out there that people are trying to push on you to purchase, buy this, I love this, and obviously I'm guilty of that too. Being outside is free. Being outside, everybody has access to, I would hope. We should utilize it because why not? All right, so kind of going along with walks, I'm going to probably keep my workout routine kind of more low intensity, and I feel like this time of year, I want to cuddle in bed and eat cookies all day and not be working out. But I'm going to be completely honest, in Japan, I was walking so much that my feet, I'm pretty sure, are broken. They're starting to feel better because I'm not walking as much. If you don't know, I get stress fractures on my feet extremely easily. I have had, I think, 9 or 11 stress fractures just in my feet, and a combination from gymnastics and also track and just walking in general. So a little backstory is basically like when I first got injured for the second time, it took a year for my feet to heal, and I was pretty much told I would never be able to run again or walk long distances or my feet would break. I got checked for osteoporosis this summer and I don't have it, thank goodness. That's a bone disease. So I started running again a year ago, and my feet weren't hurting. So I was like, oh my gosh, finally I can run. I was running maybe like a 5K or less, never more than that. The reason why I want to run is because it's free and it gets me outside and I have a dog and it's great exercise. But the thing is, I also couldn't walk long distances. I remember my first week in college, I was walking so much on campus for moving and everything, my feet started hurting. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. I can't even walk the first week of college. So the thing is, I was in Japan and my feet started hurting really, really bad to where I was limping across the city. And I for sure was like, oh my God, my foot's broken again. So I think for myself, I'm trying to lay off the high intensity workouts, and I really only do high intensity workouts during my ovulatory phase and my follicular phase. So I like to run and do HIIT classes, but I think for the rest of the year, I really want to keep it low key, low intensity. And I want to inspire everybody else to do that as well, because people are so hard on themselves this time of year. People go two ways during this time of year. They either go all out and burn themselves out because it's the end of the year and they want to either cross something off their to-do list or, get those abs before the new year. And they do all the HIIT classes, they do all the diets, you kind of burn yourself out and maybe you don't even see the results that you wanted in such a short amount of time. Or you're on the other side of the spectrum, you kind of gave up on yourself already because you're like, okay, I'll just start January 1st. That's in a couple months, or it's because the holiday season's around and there is so much family and events and food and comfort things around the holidays. You feel so bad about yourself. You're like, let me just let go, because if I let go, at least there's a reason why I'm not happy with myself. But instead, I think that there should be a middle ground, because we should still take care of ourselves and be kind to our bodies, be kind to our minds and our heart during this time. And we shouldn't give up on ourselves, but we shouldn't go all out to where we're extremely burned out and need a vacation. This is why I'm really excited to do this 75 hard version of the Wellness Girl, because I don't care about drinking a gallon of water. I don't care about doing 2 workouts in a day. I care about how I feel at the end of the day and how good of a friend I am and what I learned, and I don't really care about the progress picture before 75 days and after. And we'll get in a little bit more into that because we still have a couple more things to talk about. I would say in the workout aspect, I would try to keep it more low-key. Try to do more Pilates and yoga and walking. You don't have to run a marathon. You don't have to do a F45 hard berries class either for it to be productive. You do not have to sweat for it to be considered a workout. And I think as an athlete, you're really told that if you're not sweating or if your heart rate's not above this, then you're not working hard. And that's complete BS. Yoga and walking is still moving your body. Even if you're not doing any of those things, if you're cleaning your house, that is still moving your body. That is still better than being sedentary. Some other things that I feel like are very soft girl energy is reading more romance books. I'm so burnt out this past year with self-development and self-help, and I think that's what's making me excited for this, to kind of slow my life down. I realize that I don't always have to be productive. I don't always have to be learning something. I don't always have to be 1% better. I can read a romance novel and veg out. I can be horizontal on my bed and not have to worry about anything in my life. And I realize that I love romance books. I think they're so interesting. I low-key imagine every main character as my boyfriend and just imagine that I'm the main character and that we're just living this happy life. And it gets me more intrigued with the book. I know that's really cringy and weird, but it's fun. And I joined a book club, and I actually want to start a book club for people who aren't super into reading but like to read. Yeah, you don't have to read 100 books a year. Just read. My goal last year was to read 1 book a month, and then now my goal for this year was to read 3 books a month. I didn't reach it, I'm pretty sure, but maybe I will now since I don't have a job. There's a bright side to everything. I have a few side things as well that I kind of just made little notes about. Not only for romance books, I feel like are very in, but also spending time with your family and friends. I feel like this is the time to host themed night, game nights with like board games. I think that's so fun. And like puzzles, wine nights, spooky Halloween. Maybe you go see Christmas lights. I don't know. Anything fall and winter themed is so much fun. I'm very much a Christmas girl. I'm not gonna like decorate or anything, but I love to do all the Christmas things, like go see the lights, have hot chocolate. I want to go to Disneyland so bad. This is the time, maybe you are traveling a ton this summer, to see your family, see your friends, really connect with them, do all the little fun activities. I know a lot of people say it's cuffing season, but also like it's just as fun to do these things with your friends as it is to do with a boyfriend. Other things is comfy clothes and warm foods. I don't know what it is about comfy clothes, but I guess like when summer comes around, I'm a lot more self-conscious because I don't like wearing super tight-fitting clothes, and summer comes with like beach and bikinis and just being very out there with your body. And personally, I like to dress oversized. I like to wear sweatshirts and baggy jeans, and I got a massage in Japan, and the lady was talking to me the whole time. I didn't want to talk, but she did. After the massage, like I put my clothes back on. And granted, Japan is very, very conservative in what they wear, and I want to be extremely respectful. So I didn't show any shoulders. I didn't show my knees. I was very modest the entire trip. And pretty much I dress pretty modest. I mean, I show my legs and my like shoulders, but I never really show my midriff anymore, and I don't show cleavage or my ass. I pretty much keep that hidden nowadays unless I'm wearing a bikini or a Halloween costume. But the lady was like, she was like Russian. She was like, why are you wearing such baggy clothes? You have such a nice figure. Like women with not good bodies wear revealing clothes, and you have a nice body and you don't wear nice fitting clothes. And I was like, I don't like to. I don't really want people to see my body unless I'm 110% confident that day. But that's more of like an insecurity of me. But I feel like fall and winter, because it's cold, it's just normal to wear baggy clothes. And then like the cute sweaters come out and the matching sets. Like I love wearing matching sweat sets. If you know me, that's all I wear. And then warm foods, so like hot tea, hot coffee, hot matcha. I love warm cookies and ice cream. I'm not totally like a soup person. I wish I was. Just like the smoothies and the salads are out and in with all the warm foods. It's also really good to eat warm foods for like your body, because your body's naturally warm inside, so it's actually better for like your digestive system and your hormones. And eating like savory breakfast in the morning. I'm a holistic health coach, if you didn't know. I'm actually in school for that right now, so that's where I get all these little backing things from. But that pretty much concludes everything that I think is in for the fall and winter for soft girl lifestyle. And then now we're gonna talk about the 75 hard challenge that I'm doing. I'm calling it 75 Soft Girl Wellness Edition. 75 Hard Wellness Edition? I don't really know. If you don't know already, there's the 75 Hard, 75 Medium, and 75 Soft. And I downloaded the 75 Soft details or whatever that you're supposed to follow. If you don't know what it is, basically it's 75 days. It's supposed to be a physical and mental challenge for yourself. It was made by a man. You can just tell that a man made this, because I don't want to do that. And at first I did want to do it because I wanted a good challenge for myself, but I feel like this is more fit for myself. And I'm not going to be hard on myself. This is what it was. This is the soft challenge. So literally just think of this times 3 would be the hard challenge, and people actually do this. Number 1 is stick to a diet of your choice, no alcohol and no cheat meals. The reason why I have a problem with this is because no cheat meals, like now we're describing food as good and bad, and I really hate when people say like, oh my god, I cheated, or like, I'm gonna indulge in this meeting. Like, just think of food as neutral. Just eat it and don't make a fuss about it. You're going to look and feel the same tomorrow as you did maybe before, whatever. Just eat the food and don't say it, because so many people struggle with food, and I don't want to hear in comments, you know? Number 2 is do 2 45-minute workouts. 1 must be outside. I think that's more, the 75 soft is more like you can take a day off or something. I think that's really hard for a lot of people, because a lot of people work a 9 to 5 and have kids and commute and all that sort of stuff. And to me, I could honestly do that now that I'm unemployed. And I actually walk at work the last 10 minutes of every hour to get myself out in the sun. So like technically I could do that, but we're not going to do that. And then step number 3 would be drink a gallon of water. I do that. So like that's not a big deal to me. Number 4 is read 10 pages, and it's supposed to be a nonfiction book, or the soft challenge is like any book. And then step 5 is take progress pics. I don't understand why the progress pics are. You don't really see a difference between 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You really see a difference between 1 and 75. So you know what? I didn't like those. So we scratched them, and I made the 75 Soft Girl Challenge Wellness Edition, because I think caring about your mental and your physical health is a lot more important than taking a progress picture. So here is my version of the 75 hard challenge, and if you want to do this with me, I'm going to be posting it on TikTok. You guys have to hold me accountable to actually doing this. I was going to do like a day in the life every single day of being unemployed, but maybe I'll just attach it to this, because why not? I kind of want to do more lifestyle videos, show you guys what I do every day to benefit my well-being. Oh wait, also, let me preface, I'm not gonna do the 75 hard challenge and like, oh my god, maybe one day I didn't go on a walk and then I'm gonna have to start all over. Like, I'm just gonna do this for 75 days or like till the new year and be easy on myself. It's supposed to be soft, it's supposed to be fun and make me feel good. I'm not supposed to stress over this. It's just maybe like pretty much like a to-do list every day for myself. Rule number 1, I'm just gonna call it rules because it's easier. I'm going to have the crowd out mentality. The crowd out mentality basically means it's having a less restrictive mindset when it comes to like a diet. So instead of telling myself I have to do this, this, and that, I'm basically telling myself to crowd out all the things I don't want myself to eat by incorporating more veggies and protein and foods I really enjoy, because the more I add into my lifestyle and my diet, gradually going to get rid of the things that don't serve me without even realizing. So crowd out mentality when it comes to food, obviously like food neutrality and like eating intuitively, like we always love that. Rule number 2 is to move my body in some type of low intensity way. So we're going to take a yoga class, walking, Pilates. Like I said, I don't really want to stress my body out more than it already is. And I feel like this time is really to just settle down and enjoy and reflect on the year. And no better way to do that than basically tell my body I love you by doing slow movement. Maybe that movement is going outside. So rule number 3 is to go outside as much as I can, morning, midday, and evening for at least 5 minutes. It's really good for your circadian rhythm to get sun on your face. So many benefits for being outside, and I think going out at different times of the day is really good for your body as well. And that's so easy. Like when I'm at work, like I said already, I walk the last 10 minutes of every hour. So it hits 9:50, I'm out there walking. And I actually calculated how long it takes me to like walk down the street and back, and it's 10 minutes exactly. Or go to the restroom, go get water, like get anything to get yourself up and out of your seat during the day. And that's how I get 10,000 steps a day too. Number 4 is to read 10 pages a day of anything. I just want to get back into reading more often. I read so much in Japan. Read anything. Read a self-help book, read a romance novel, fiction, whatever you please. I just want to be more of a reader. And rule number 5 is 1 self-care activity. Journaling, affirmations, meditation, grounding, seeing a friend, lymphatic drainage, going to the beach, whatever a self-activity or self-care activity means to you, do it. You should have time in your day to do one thing for yourself. Maybe it was taking a shower. Don't be hard on yourself. Just give yourself a little love throughout the day. And I think for me, my main self-care activities will probably be like lymphatic drainage, going to the massage, or going to the beach. I would love to get back into journaling. That's just not my thing sometimes. 1 self-care thing a day to just remind yourself that you've got it, you love yourself, and you can make it the next day. And then my last rule for myself will be to sleep 7 hours or more. I think everyone should sleep 8 or more hours. Just sleep. Get that sleep. My Oura ring now tells me when I'm stressed. So now I'm trying to keep my stress down. But I have 6 rules for myself, and they're pretty much not really rules. They're just ways for me to remember every day. They're kind of like daily reminders of things I want to do. In 75 days, I'm going to feel like a totally new human. Hopefully, in 75 days, I am my best self. This is kind of a self-help challenge without being a self-help challenge, because I'm tired of self-improvement. This is more of just like taking care of my body so I don't burn out. That concludes today's entire episode. Please share the pod, like the pod, follow the pod on TikTok, on Instagram. I have so much more coming for the podcast. I'm so excited. I'm getting my health certification too, so I'm excited to share more about that. I have to go pick up miso from Max's house. It's 7 p.m. Yeah, I am so excited for you guys to listen to this episode. Okay, I'll talk to you later. Bye.